And our last comment will come from line number 25. Line 25, your line's open. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you to John and Amy for making it possible for me to give these comments from afar. This is Raphael Plunkett calling. I am with CJEC, and I'm on the phone from Diamond Bar. I'm sorry I couldn't join you in person this morning, but Joe and I are here as we have been every meeting from the very beginning. I want to give a special thanks, first of all, to Ms. Simmons for that really profound and enriching, welcoming remarks, and for all of her work to get us here. I thank the task force and the staff for having the weekend meetings. A special thanks, as always, to Dr. Weber. Please know that I support lineage-based plans specific to the descendant community, not universal or race-based plans. I support federal reparations. I also ask, again, to get the interim report into California libraries, high schools, college campuses, senior citizen centers, etc. There's a lot of education in that interim report, and it will answer a lot of these questions before people even present them. I ask those of you that are legislators, please present legislation to support reparations. Get creative for us. I ask that you all aggressively fight misinformation and disinformation. And once again, that interim report will help with that. I ask for ASL and closed captioning. There's a lot of people that can't participate, and this is really a shame. Please include them. I ask that you please hold more in-person meetings, including the weekends. Please know that your exceptional efforts are supported and appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the in-callers. Now we would switch to in-person, and please remember you have 2 minutes. And for in-person folks, I have special cards for you. You'll get a 1-minute notice and then a time up. So that way we can make sure as many people as possible can be heard today. Thank you. Please go ahead.
My name is Reggie Romaine from LA. I've been this is the meeting since the 11th one. And I just ask everybody, can we all get along? Can we just stop coming here? Can we just stop coming here bickering on that, man? It's all gas, no brake right now. We got to come up with some solutions. All this bickering, and that's water under the bridge. Now, I got some solutions. Now, listen. First of all, who in this crowd want they 40 acres in their mule? Who want their land? Okay, let's get some solutions to get this land. The money gonna come. But my solution is this for genocide. And I'm going back to when I first started. These jails, these prisons, they just destroyed us. They're not rehabilitating us. I didn't understand at the last meeting, Mr. Sawyer, you brought up the jails and then we brought up the contaminations and everything. Were you talking about us having it and renting it to somebody else? Or are we going to get it? Because we need to be agape love to our people. 3 a day is dying in these jails in the United States. This is going to set an echo. Okay, we got second and third strikers. We leading in that. That means it's a black hole. I told y'all my brother in 2011 passed away. My brother 4 years ago, first offense for a manslaughter 311, he got 27 alive at 54 years old. So that's a black hole for him. My solution is this. We need those jails that we freed up. That's only 300 acres apiece. California is 100 acres, 100 million acres. The government owns 45.5 million of these acres. Start breaking up some of that land so we can rehabilitate our people, so we can start, bringing them back to community. We got to bring them back out of there. Or when they pass away, just let them be able to look at us and say, I died in front of some black people. Yes. So give us these jails. I beg you to give us these jails. They gave white folk 5 years, 5 acres.
I'm so sorry to cut you off, sir, in the middle of your sentence.
I'll be back tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. Everybody will be here. Great. Thank you so much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, board members. I'm asking you to do something now, today. Either write letters, call, or do whatever you got to do to stop the RFP for the Fillmore Harris Center in San Francisco. We need to stop that. That building was built for the black community. And now it's got an RFP on it. My name is Ken Johnson. I'm a native San Franciscan. I'm representing myself and Black Wall Street and other organizations. I'm speaking specifically about the Fillmore Heritage Center in San Francisco. Now the building was built to revive the Black community, what the city did to the Black community. You all know about San Francisco and what it was a thriving, it was once called the Harlem of the West. Now it's not. Now, the only building that we can do something with to help train youngsters and community members, it's got an RFP on it. It's ridiculous. And you need to write letters or call the city or do whatever you got to do to stop the RFP. See, excuse me, I'm sort of getting motivated. All I'm doing, folks, is asking you to stop the RFP and use some of the reparations money to acquire the building, to do whatever it's got. It's very little that needs to be done to the building. Then we can use the building to help stop crime in the area, train our young people, train them to have marketable skills, so we can reduce the crime and make our community safer. You're sitting up there and you have power in your hands, so do something with it. Call or stop it now because the RFP is out. You can call and write letters.
Sir, thank you. Thank you very much for your comments. Thanks for coming out today. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, task force. So I'm Daniel Landry from San Francisco, also like Ken, and I sit on the Reparations Advisory Board in San Francisco with our great historian, Dr. Brown. I want to thank you. And at the same time, hearing the passion coming from our people and hearing even those who said some things that I didn't like, by the way, on the calls, it really bothers me for us to not realize, like what the brother was saying, that here in America, it's about the land. Whether you're talking about 40 acres or 1 acre, ultimately, real estate is rooted in land. So as a member of that advisory committee in San Francisco, people keep asking us, why 5 million? Well, why not 500 million? Because you can never repay for the damage have been done to Black people in America. So let's be very clear. And as the OG told me in the streets, you're not a man until you got land. Let's deep dive into the land issue. Because when I look at Article 34 and I look at the covenant restrictions here in the state of California, this was the common way here in California and America. They didn't have to say Black exclusion like they said the Chinese exclusion because it was the way of life. That's right. Racism, ignorance, stupidity is a way of life here in America. So I want to be very clear. Land, land, land. And Abrabagate, Hotep, healthy land, not toxic land, like Bayview Hunters Point. Non-toxic land. So I know I only got 2 minutes, but I want to thank y'all for being a punching bag, because we're going to be a punching bag as a committee in San Francisco. When the people come up and say things you don't like, take it. Because look what our people have went through here in America. Take it. It's all good. I'll be a punching bag for you. Come to San Francisco. Let me have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming today. Next speaker, please.
My name is Gloria Perot-Dyer, and I live in Roseville, California. I have an unusual story in that I grew up in the town of Allensworth. I will show you now the certificate that was awarded to my father, Jefferson Piero, who was instrumental in helping it to become a part of the California Department of Parks and Recreation. And this was awarded to him. He is now deceased. But I will say in that connection that growing up in Allensworth was an extraordinary experience in terms of being able to see how racism affected an entire town. My family moved to Allensworth in 1953, and by the way, has maintained a presence there ever since. Our family farm is still there and still in the family hands, which by the way, as gentlemen before me mentioned, the land is so important. My father, when he bought that land, there was no well on it. And the farmers around him, the white farmers all around him had wells. We didn't. Our house had no running water. We had to haul water for like 11 years. Then Sergeant Shriver came to our house. This was President Kennedy's brother-in-law, and helped get wells in the community. But the point I'm going to say, since I have very little time, my family has done a lot to build up the community of Allensworth. And what I wanted to say, it represents something, okay? It represents something because it was built by ex-slaves and so forth. Now, lastly, I would make this observation. If you want to do something, it's not going to solve the problem if we just throw money at it. Land, as was mentioned, and also programs and resources to undo the psychological harm that has been done by being surrounded by hatred for centuries.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for traveling here today. Next speaker.
Peace, greetings, and grand rising, California Reparations Task Force panel. I am Yvette Yaira Coburn. I am a native-born Los Angeles, Californian, who descends from powerful ancestors that were enslaved 400 plus years through the transatlantic chattel enslavement, where I have personally traced my own family lineage back to the early Virginian colonies of the 1600s. I am honored to be standing here to share my own testimony and proposal, not only as an advocate of the reparations movement, but also as a professional genealogist with root trackers, also known as learning DNA genealogy. I have had 6 years of success breaking brick walls in several American Black freedmen family trees through the paper trail and genetic genealogy, helping orphans, adoptees, and those who were missing one parent. I have not yet heard a discussion of using a genetic process to have as an additional qualifier where one's ancestors that are from this northern territory genetically during chattel enslavement, in addition to providing a family tree with the Freedom Bureau. The paper trail is not always proven to be correct, as there are known non-paternity events to discover through DNA for all. Please let me know who on this task force I can reach out to present this in more further detail. And furthermore, we must have our own agency. Otherwise, there's no true healing and freedom from the 5+ harms that is still relevant and present today. Please be mindful, empathetic, compassionate, and productive in your decisions in delivering any sense of long overdue repair. Power to the Freedman family.
Thank you. Next speaker, you may begin.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kamji Ansley, and I'm here. I've traced my lineage back. On 3 sides, I'm back to the 1600s, and I'm still on this soil. On one side, I got back to 1868, and that ancestor said he was born in Africa and that his mother and father were born in Africa. On the other side, I've gotten back to the 1700s, and we're still in California. We have never left California. I've read the Reparations Task Force study, the report. I'm actually almost on the 9th chapter of my 3rd reading of it. And I haven't found any case law in there where it is the state of California versus Freedmen. I know that there was a freedman town that came here from a general who served in the military. He actually got his training from a freedman school. He taught in a freedman school after serving in the Philippines. He came up through Texas and then bought some land here, mid-Northern California. My concern is that when we're dealing with California and when we're dealing with our ancestors and when we're dealing with freedmen, I need to find out where the freedmen were in California, because my lineage going back to the 1700s doesn't have anyone who has money in a freedman's bank. They didn't belong to a freedman's bureau because they lived in California. and they've been here since the 1700s. And I do have concern about that because there is, like people have said on the phone, an outcry, even from our chairperson of this task force who's on Twitter, and she reps the freedmen. I just found out the other day that she said, it's on her Twitter page, I screenshotted it, that this reparations is only for people who were in the transatlantic slave trade. But then she also talked about genealogy and taking DNA tests. At the bottom, it says for entertainment purpose only.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you in the middle of your sentence. Feel free to come back tomorrow or submit your comments in writing. Speaker,
Madam
please.
Chair, members of the board, those of you here and listening to the sound of my voice, I'm Morris Griffin. I'm better known as Big Money Griff, strong community activist, leader, and problem solver. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that when the brother talked about the prisons, we've got to emphasize that the reason why our Black men are in these prisons is because of crack cocaine. And who brought that crack cocaine here? Noriega, Bush, and we have to say Arkansas, Clinton knew about it too, especially when he got that NAFTA and GATT and took away all of our jobs. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here right now to say there's only one thing that would stimulate this economy, and I need you to spread the word, what you heard, to Governor Gavin Newsom. And that one thing is capital, money, reparations. That will stimulate this economy for the 2.6 million Blacks in California. There's only one thing that would stop our children from busting into these liquor stores and grocery stores, stealing junk food and stealing different things, and that's reparations. There's only one thing that would stop our kids from busting into these jewelry stores, stealing watches and jewelry, and that's reparations. So I need you, Gavin Newsom, to understand that if you have an intention of running for the presidency after Biden gets his presidency, we need you to understand, so goes California, so goes the nation. And if you clean up this state for the homelessness, and Karen Bass cleans up her city with the homelessness, that can be a 1-2 ticket. Spread the word, what you heard. Not only can you do it here in the state of California, but so goes California, so goes the nation. Now,
I'm so sorry. I have to. Your time is up. But you can come back tomorrow. And you can submit your comments in writing. Thank you so very much. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Tiambe Jama, and I say something every day, and that is, we honor our ancestors by doing our best work every day. All praise to God, our African God and African ancestors. When you say this, you stay on point. So my point here today is, for me, the reparations movement, yes, we need money, but the most important thing is unity of purpose. With that, we're gonna make it. Okay, functional unity in the old days. Okay, that took away homelessness. Come on now, you know, the thing with the values. And the other important thing to me is young people got me here today. Yasmin has organized in our area, East Palo Alto, and we have information regarding the Charles Webb did a report on how crack got to East Palo Alto and decimated it. You know, so unity of function and purpose will get us back to knowing what our enemies are and having shields and strength against them, because they always put out different kind of enemies. The enemy now is Black women and Black men against each other. Let's get it together. Okay, once that together, that family thing, no things against us will, no enemies formed against us will prosper. We can do that. We have our African blood in us. Let's do the right thing. Thank you for doing what you're going to do. And there's multiple ways to freedom. Okay. And of course, you know, you guys have the knowledge. Come on now. Our elders in my building, I've met 2 elders, they're 85. They told me about doing cotton. I didn't do it. I was from the North. They told me about that, how it did their bodies, so you see them all bent over. That's it. Is that all?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Feel free to come back tomorrow or submit your comments in writing. Thank you again. Next speaker.
Hi, good morning, California Reparations Task Force. My name is Dr. LaWanda Wesley, and I come from you as a native of Oakland, California, a daughter of Oakland, and raised by Black Panthers. I do come before you on behalf of Black Californians United for Early Care and Education. We have a 10-point plan that addresses reparations in the early education workforce for our babies. If you guys don't know it, you can visit that by going to blackece.org. But what I want to do just shortly before you is just acknowledge that in the interim report that was published in June 2022, it did a great job of addressing a lot of challenges around reparations approach for K through 12, but it did not address the gaps that impact the early education space. And knowing all of us start our journey in life as an infant, making our way to preschool before we get into kindergarten. So with that, I'm going to get quickly to the point of what we're asking in our 10-point plan for Black children, Black families, and for the Black ECE workforce. And ECE means early care and education. So we're asking that we dismantle and separate unequal education, that by providing funding for African-American freedom-owned, controlled childcare preschool programs, K through 12 schools, colleges, universities, trades, and professional. We ask that you provide additional funding for early care and education settings with where there's at least 1/3 Black child in that population in direct classrooms, adopt mandatory child development curriculum for early educators that include culturally responsive curriculum that's anti-bias and is pro-Black. We ask that you provide Black families and stop pathologizing us by providing universal basic income for Black families, especially those who are mothers. And we ask you to dismantle and address stolen labor, which hindered the opportunity for many of us as early educators by providing property to those who are Black-owned, Black-led childcare providers, real estate, land, and so on. And then lastly, we ask that you
I'm
address
so
the wealth
sorry
gap
to
by
cut you off in the
prioritizing
middle of
grants
your.
and contracts to Black early educator providers.
Thank,
And thank you for your time.
thank you for your time. All right. Can you hold on 1 second? Is that Chair Moore? Did you want us to just continue? Okay. All right, please. All right.
Good morning, Task Force. Honorable Camila Chair in the Task Force. My name is Natalie Champion, and I am representing the California Black Women's Health Project. We are a 29-year-old Black-led legacy organization that serves the 1.2 million Black women and girls throughout the state. And I want you to know that we are here to support the unprecedented work of this task force and applaud the recommendations in your interim report. I'm specifically here to speak about the maternal health aspects of the report and offer up some additional recommendations to include. We know that Black birthing people are dying in unprecedented numbers, not because of what they've done or have not done, but because of the lineage and legacy of harm inflicted on our people. And so with that, I would like to share some recommendations to include fully fund care from a doula and midwife for conception planning, pregnancy delivery, and postpartum care for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States, including free lactation education and support for every stage of pregnancy, including education to postpartum care. Fully fund pipeline programs to recruit and train African Americans interested in becoming a doula, midwife, lactational professional, or other birth worker, including fully funding their educational tuition, materials and supplies, certification, credentialing, insurance, business license fees, and CPR and NPR training requirements. Black doulas and midwives should be respected and accepted as providers and part of the care team in all settings, including home births, birthing centers, hospitals, and clinics. Fully fund Black clinics and birthing centers owned and operated by Black healthcare professionals and wellness practitioners, including health and wellness centers without limitations, redlining, and medical bias. Pay Black birth workers, doulas, a thriving wage, and also including the Office
Thank you
of
so
Black.
much. I'm so
Freemen's
sorry
Club.
to
Thank you so
interrupt you.
much for your time.
Thank you for all that great information. Next speaker.
Good morning, Chair Moore, Vice Chair Brown, Task Force members. My name is Marcus Champion. I'm a member of NAASDLA and CJAC. I'm from Inglewood and I live in South Central. I want to begin by saying that I believe Member Grills' motion from the last hearing should be re-examined and rescinded. The Office of Freedmen Affairs should be instituted with full autonomy. A natural byproduct of the process will be utilizing community-based organizations, but as of today, there are no CBOs whose sole focus is the African-American descendants of persons enslaved community. In my opinion, it will be an injustice if certain facets of the distribution of reparations be mandated at the outset to organizations that don't have our sole interest as their prime directive. I also want to bring attention to the first proposal draft. I applaud you all. Your work is tireless and thankless, and you've created a body of transformative initiatives. My problem, though, is quite a few of the proposals are either race-based or universal. As we know, race-based policy violates the Constitution, and universal policy is not reparations. I want to highlight the Indian Child Welfare Act case, Holland v. Bracken, that was recently heard by the Supreme Court. The opposition claims the program gives adoption preferences of Native American children to all Native American families, making it race-based. The side arguing on behalf of the act says that it's not race-based because all Indians don't qualify. It is specific to federally recognized tribes. That means the program is not accessible to state tribes or anyone just because they identify as Indian, making this a status-based program that is legal. I say all that to re-emphasize our reparations is lineage and status-based. Honor the votes you made in March last year and what is constitutional. We've come too far to fight losing battles just to appease ideology. Change each proposal to uniformly state they're for the African-American descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the next two speakers and then we'll do a check-in. Please go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? My name is Lloyd Kelly, and I am here from New Orleans, Louisiana. As Ms. Simmons said earlier this morning, that she believes that what California does with reparations, so will the nation, so will the federal bills. So clearly, I really believe in what we're doing, or else I wouldn't have gone on a plane, flown down here to be here today for this meeting. Next, I'd like to say that just because you look like me does not mean that you are for me. And I would say that anybody that would put up legislation that would take away control of reparations, our money for what we went through for 400 years, is not for me. That's right. Finally, I'd like to say that yes, I'd love to see cash reparations in the hands of every American freedman in California. But if you do nothing else, do this. Give us back our identity. We are American freedmen. It's a simple question. Either you are or you're not. Either you descend from people that used to pick cotton and feed white people, or you're not. So California, if you don't do anything, take the opportunity and the power that you have to give us back our identity. And with that, I will yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming so far. All right, this will be our last speaker before we do a check-in. Please, good morning and go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning. I would like to say good morning to Chair Moore, Vice Chair Brown, and the entire task force. My name is Darlene Crumity. I am with CJEC as well as ARC Bay Area. I would like to take the time and thank the task force for holding these in-person meetings, and I've been very fortunate to attend all of them. I would like to thank the task force for its historic vote on March 29, 2022, that voted for the community of eligibility based on lineage for descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. As I stated last month, I'm doing a deep dive on the interim report that was released on June 1st of 2022, and I want again to thank you all for your time and effort that went into this report. In Chapter 6, Separate and Unequal Education, on page 221, there was a reference to Berkeley in the Riverside busing. But what's not mentioned was the closure of my elementary school in San Francisco in 1966, Dudley Stone Elementary. I was then, from the 5th grade on, bused to white schools in the Sunset. I was bused to Lawton Elementary. If I may read the first paragraph of this, and I have plenty of copies if anyone would like to see it. The first paragraph reads, Dudley Stone School in the Haight-Ashbury district is a slum school. Most of its students are Negroes. Many of their parents have sometime been disturbed over conditions that were of bad plumbing, the cafeteria was too small, and there was inadequate play space. I didn't remember it that way. What I remembered was my 2nd grade teacher, Miss Roberta McGruger, allowed these Negro students to be able to take pets home and learn how to care for them. What I remembered was my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Carter, a descendant, who taught us the value of who we were. And as a matter of fact, that was the last Black American descendant teacher I had until 1973, when I attended San Francisco City College, Mr. Nash.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Thank you so much for that statement. Feel free to submit your comments in writing, or you're welcome to come back again, and we will take one more speaker until we check in. Thank you. Thank you again for coming out.
Good morning, task force members and the audience. My name is Phoenix Star, and just as my name indicates, rising from the fire and ashes of destruction to give birth to a new life. Reparations is American freedmen's rebirth and renewal, known amongst our communities as Reconstruction 2.0. For those that are confused, descendants of American freedmen are those that descend from a great lineage of people of formerly enslaved that intellectually and built this country with our intellect and free labor. We are owed a debt by this beautiful state of California for the harms it did for freedmen seeking refuge here and its descendants, and we also are owed a debt from the United States of America. Now, regarding our most valuable reimagined legacy institution known as the Freedmen's Bureau, the suggestion was to have it serve as an advisory organization by Ms. Grills. Let me be very clear. Ms. Grills or anyone seeking to parcel out our repair to be distributed to nonprofits and NGOs is looking to grift and steal from us. Just as the communication firms that Ms. Grills was in charge of, that didn't go over well, did it? Where are the results from the communication firms? Why isn't there an American freedman or African American lining up outside of these halls? Didn't go over well. So why would we ever take a suggestion from you or anyone else to suggest that we cannot cover our own repair? So
I'm
let
so
me end by
sorry.
saying
Your,
this.
your time is up. I'm so
Dear
very
task
sorry.
force members,
I'm
Freedmen's
so
Bureau
sorry.
administration
Your
body, we
time
will
is up.
elect and we will support all
Vice
of the
Chair
members we
Brown,
want for
maybe?
our reparations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out. All right, well, please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Heaven Nicole. Just to say, when people say, can't we all just get along? That means you really won. I'm a blogger for the Black American Heritage Club and a volunteer that reads the Reparation Intern Report on Twitter called the Section 8 Space. I'm standing on Bloodline Business. I'm wearing a Black American Heritage flag by Melvin Charles and Gleason Jackson. The Black American Heritage flag is an ethnic flag that represents the culture and history of Black people. Drop the Pan-African flag and get you one. By planes, trains, and automobiles, I've traveled. I am a dedicated Black Californian who can trace their lineage past the 1865 census, and we are more than slaves. My people have went through several disparities, as I'm sure you all are aware of. Unique disparities, one that cannot be compared to any other race. And we do need time to highlight how uncomparable we are. I'd like to extend a token of gratitude for the extension and being honest that the reparation proposal is not ready for Black Americans. I also, I think also gives it more time for Black Americans to understand what's going on in California about reparations, although we're at the end still. My criticism is that we need more communication to the Black Californians immediately, so that we won't feel like this is a botched job, you know, for reparations. And as a Black American, I will suggest persons that are not of the lineage, even if you're for reparations for Black Americans, should not take public speaking spaces from Black Americans. I noticed that is a representation of Black Americans at this.
Thank you for coming out, but your time
is
is up, and I'm so sorry to have to interrupt you.
My time is up. All right,
Your time is up.
All right, cash
Thank
payments
you
for
so
Black
much.
Americans. All reparations.
Thanks for coming out.
I need local, state, and federal.
Thanks
and
for
vote
coming
for
out.
Deion
Your
Jenkins and
time
Max
is up. Before the next speaker, Chair Moore, I'd like to do a check-in with you, please.
10 minutes, and then we're gonna go to the next agenda item.
All right, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, first, this panel, we've got to end the scams, right? Like this extension is all political theater, missed deliverables, right? A failed report that doesn't accurately describe, which is why many people are coming up here and having to say the words lineage-based reparations, right? We need lineage-based reparations. If your ancestors did not pick cotton for and grow food for white people to eat, then we're not talking about you. So first of all, lineage-based reparations, and we got to end these funny terms. We can't be bickering over freedmen versus not. Like we got to end these funny terms. And lineage-based reparations will do that. The focus on the lineage, right? Secondly, you know, the way that you guys are moving, right? Some of you are not here ever, as pointed out by many calls. The panelists that have burner accounts and oppose Black Americans on the panel, ridiculous. Like this is all political theater, and it needs to end. I almost cursed. Money spent on marketing campaigns that who's seen an ad here? Who's seen an ad on TV to come in here? No one. Exactly. Who heard an ad on the radio to come here? No one. This is ridiculous. How does $1.5 million get spent on what? And the scams and the bullshit. I'm out.
Thank you. Next caller, and just a friendly reminder, you have 2 minutes in fairness to everyone behind you. Please go ahead. Thank you for coming out.
Peace to the Tribe 5. Peace to the Rundown Boys. Peace to my ancestors. To the cosplaying chair. Due to your consistent, condescending, disrespectful behavior on social media, we as Black Americans are demanding and commanding you to step down and step aside, effective immediately. You come from a bloodline of tethers. I come from a bloodline of feathers. We are not the same. So, in the words of my great big mama, and to my fellow historian that comes out of 757, get your ass up and K your ass. Now, lineage-based reparations, it is what it is. Meet me about a Tesla, we could talk. Lineage-based reparations, that's how it's going, all right? So I'll land right there.
Next speaker, you have 2 minutes, please.
King Bishop in the house. King
Bishop
Sir
Williams.
in the house. Hey, this is a real slave like he was. Respect him. Listen at
My name is Bishop Henry William,
and I'm a cotton picker from Alabama. I'm 88 years old, and I spoke in San Diego in front of everyone that I was a real slave in the state of Florida, in the plantation of Florida, and everything, and where they had killed many blacks that were double-barrel shotguns, young black kids, and buried them and everything, and I had proof of that. And I spoke in front of y'all in San Diego. I said, one thing that I would like to have something in my spirit ever since I escaped from there, that I promised these people that I would come back one day with some people and everything and free all of them and dig these bodies up. You know what I mean? And I've been in front of the police department with this story. I've been in front of the press, the news, the FBI over the years several times, and nobody come out to support me. And I have a missing granddaughter here in California for over 2 years. She's been missing right here. And the press don't deal with no parts of that, of my missing granddaughter. And my son is here, the father of that daughter. He gonna speak on it after a while, but we need support. And to this afternoon, Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, the meeting started about 4:30 at the Port of Oakland. I'll be speaking from the Port of Oakland for land and building and property and everything. There in Oakland, I want to see everybody that's black, that need a home, that need an apartment building, they get it, okay? That's my drive in Oakland, California. I have all the proof. I've been doing this for over
Bishop,
50 years.
Bishop, thank you so much.
Over 50 years in reparation, everything. And I have all the proof of everything I'm doing and everything I'm saying. But I need support. My family needs support, okay? And
Thank you, Bishop. Thank
I
you.
made this speech in front of y'all in San Diego. Nobody called me. One lady put it in the newspaper that I was a real slave and what happened to me in Florida. Nobody from the committee and everything. This shouldn't be a committee that's run by Ku Klux Klan. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Thank you, Bishop.
Ku Klux Klan.
Thank you very much.
People on the sideline, everything else.
Say your granddaughter's name. What's her name? What's her name?
Sharon Williams.
Sharon Williams.
Sharon Williams.
Sharon Williams.
Let's go, Brother Bishop. We'll be back tomorrow, brother. We'll be back tomorrow. And don't forget his 40 acres in that tractor.
The next speaker, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Bishop William, he is our honorary chairman, so we give honor to respect. Moving forward, 9 committee members: Dr. Amos Brown, Cheryl Grills, Lisa Holder, Scott Lewis, and Don Tamaki. All were chosen by Governor Gavin Newsom. Assembly Attorney Redmond chose Joan Sawyer as well as Chairman Moore. And we have Senator Tony Atkins, who chose Stephen Bradford, and Councilwoman Montgomery Stepp. Now, when I think about reparations, I don't think about a Scottish governor, a Mexican assembly, Anthony Redmond, or a gay Caucasian, Tony Gale Atkins, senator. That's who chose these 9 members. I want you to be very careful. We don't expect non-blacks to tell us how we're going to get reparations. We got to mobilize it by ourselves. It's power to the people. And I appreciate Heavenly, as well as Brother Reggie and many others who come, natives who speak their mind. But reality is, if we don't put foot to power, you guys cannot make the final decisions on reparations. You have to listen to the people. No shade. Each of you are probably nice in your own right. Probably go out and have a drink or something. When it comes to reparations and repairment of a damage, this is serious business. Tony Atkins, Gavin Newsom, and Anthony Redden should not be the final say-so on why you're dragging your feet. So no shade to you, but we have to get reparations, not by you. It is power to the people. You hear what I'm saying? Stop backbiting and talking shit. Let's be and put that paper and make them work, because they're not the final say so. You are. You are. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more speaker. Go ahead, sir. Please begin.
My name is Dion D. Jenkins.
Please go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Dion D. Jenkins. Reparations is the extension word of its root word repair. Repair meaning to mend damage, to make whole. Okay? Understanding the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause is not being enforced by our country and our government is a problem. And it is a violation of the Constitution. Black Americans are being negated out of their constitutional rights. We must understand that reparations are 4 elements. Defensive structure, meaning enforcing the law, armed forces, specifically for Black Americans. Specifically for Black Americans. Understand that there must be cash payments. There must be land. There must be the access to capital, meaning building up your own infrastructure, creating grants. DMLG, Defense Money Land Grants. And this is why I don't think this is reparations, but we'll take it. This is a California monetary atonement. But however, I'm running for president in 2024. Dion D. Jenkins, I ran for senator last time, and I ran for president twice in 2016 and 2020. And I'm putting in my bid right now. We're going to get reparations. DMLG, I land.
Thank you very much. Chair Moore, Task Force, does that conclude our in-person public comment this morning?
Yes, so we are concluded for today, but a staff member will take everyone's names down who's in the line so that folks can return for the next period of public comment. So thank you all for folks who joined in the phone lines and in person. A staff member will come over shortly and take your names down.
Finds himself in exile in his own land.
Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.